Hello, and welcome back to another episode of A Doctor's Oath podcast. My name is Dr. 𝐘𝐨𝐻 𝐵𝐿, and I'm the author of A Doctor's Oath series. Today, I'm joined by someone who I truly admire, not just for his accomplishments, but for the clarity, determination, and purpose that shaped his entire career. Dr. Younis Hussain is a lead consultant in spine and neurosurgery in Germany. He was part of the 2001 batch at Gulf Medical University, which was known as Gulf Medical College at that time, and graduated in 2006. This episode is very special because we share the same alma mater. I walked those hallways, those exact hallways, and graduated in 2025, almost after 20 years from him. Please welcome Dr. Younis Hussain. Thank you very much, Dr. Younis, for doing this interview. We'll dive deep into his story, journey, and the challenges, moments, and choices that led to the surgeon he is today. Welcome, Dr. Younis.
Thank you very much, Shad. Thank you for a very humble introduction. And of course, I'm so happy to be here. Of course, always glad to meet all the former and current students of GMU. And of course, it's an honor to be able to be part of your podcast today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Younis. Now let's go back to the beginnings, all the way back. When did you finish high school, and what inspired you to choose medicine as your path?
So I was, I went to two different schools. My O-levels I did from Westminster. It was in 1999, then 2001. I did my A-levels, and that's the time when I actually enrolled for GMC. At that time, it was GMC.
Right. What made you choose medicine?
Again, this is a story which is very close to my heart. Actually, one of my school teachers, he was a doctor. He was a PhD doctor, and he was a person who was of a different character. I mean, like, he was very kind, humble. Plus, he was, for me, he was a genius at that time. And he somehow had this ability to take out the best of you. And he encouraged me in a lot of fields, not only in, I started doing some acting classes back then. I was in environmental club. And he actually made me realize that I'm actually meant for this field. It's not that I was completely oblivious to it, because I never used to like physics and maths as much. I was a good student, but and used to score better in all the subjects. But I think biology was my love, and that was something that I realized when I was under his supervision. So that was one of the things that he shaped me in that way.
Right, amazing. It's always lovely to hear about the stories of people, why they chose medicine. You always get different answers, and it's lovely to hear yours as well, Doctor.
Yep.
So you joined GMC, Gulf Medical University, when it was just beginning in 2001. Can you please describe it for me at that time? And also, how was 𝒏𝒆𝒃 at that time?
See, at that time, 2001, it was still very early for GMC. It was like, I knew about the college. I won't say I didn't know about it, but it was not as famous as right now, of course. I got to know about the university maybe something around in 2000. And at that time, I was a school student. I was still thinking about how to go about medicine, what are the subjects that I need. And 𝒏𝒆𝒃 was, of course, not very far away, but was like, I was living in Dubai, and I had to travel all the way to 𝒏𝒆𝒃. But the choice was between going to Pakistan, which was my native country at that time. My parents are from Pakistan. And going to 𝒏𝒆𝒃, I think it was pretty easy decision for me and my parents that 𝒏𝒆𝒃 would be the better choice. And that's how it all came about. I went to Pakistan for a couple of months, but then later on, when I got admission in Gulf Medical College, I decided for Gulf Medical College due to family reasons, because my family never wanted me to be alone in Pakistan.
And you made an amazing choice. We have a role model like you now.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. course.
Doctor, did you have any influence in your medical school days, like a mentor, professor, or just a moment that shaped your outlook on medicine?
See, I mean, it will be unfair to mention only a few names along the way. I mean, it's a journey. Everyone has a journey, and I had my own journey where there were a lot of people who influenced me. Like I've already mentioned one name in my school, Dr. Mohan. I mean, a character that I cannot never forget. I mean, like he's always going to be there in my life as a mentor, and I can never forget the things that he's taught me. And coming back to the Gulf Medical College, I can start from the very first year. Dr. Imad used to be our professor. I don't know if you guys have heard about him, but I think he left like maybe something around 2010 or 9. He was my first influence as a medical student, first year medical student, still very new to the whole environment, and he shaped me. Like he actually taught me a lot of things about being like an anatomist, like, and that's eventually as a surgeon, that was the most important thing that was necessary for me later on in life that I realized. Apart from that, there was Dr. Joshua. He was the head of forensic medicine. And of course, I cannot go ahead without mentioning Dr. Gomati. She has left now for India. She was in the biochemistry, and Dr. Niloufar, who is now the head of biochemistry department. These two doctors, they have been pillar of my strength throughout the university life. They were very friendly, always ready to, eager to help us as students, and the pearls of wisdoms they've given us, not only in medical field, but also how to shape our career, how to think like a doctor, how to behave, and how to go about our daily routines as a doctor. That was, of course, these were things that I cannot forget.
Amazing. I recognize some of the names, and it's heartwarming to know that we shared the same professors as well.
Yes.
So, Dr. Younis, tell me about the challenges you faced and how did you overcome them at that time? Of course, medical education was very different. With technology, there has been a lot of advances. So tell me, how was medical education back in the early 2000s?
So, early 2000s, it was, I would say that there's a lot of, there's a plethora of resources right now for the students who are medical students, who can actually assess a lot of research papers. They can assess a lot of videos from different universities around the world. And that was something that was missing at our era. I mean, I'm not going to sound as if, like I'm talking about 1950s. We had a lot of resources as well, but it was not as prevalent as at the time right now. We used to have our professors. Of course, we used to have a lot of, we used to put in efforts to listen to the lectures, trying to be, like at the front row, trying to listen to the lectures of our professors, and trying to take notes and not missing any of the information, because we knew that this information or this thing that has been covered in the lecture is going to be of vital importance in the examination as well. And of course, the books were there, the textbooks were there. They were always our best friends. But apart from that, the basic difference, I would say, is that the sources of information right now, they're much more as compared to back in our time.
I would say that we are especially lucky because we have artificial intelligence now, which is aiding our education very much.
Exactly. I think the invent of artificial intelligence, in education is, again, it's good at the same time, but you have to be very careful. Like you need to use your own brain more than the trust on the artificial intelligence, I guess.
Exactly. I recently heard something that is really nice when it comes to artificial intelligence and replacing jobs. They say that a doctor who doesn't know how to use artificial intelligence is likely more to be replaced by a doctor who knows how to use artificial intelligence.
Exactly. I mean, I do believe in advancement of technology. I do believe in Even in neurosurgery, I've seen in the past 10 years, artificial intelligence has given us advancements in my field as well. But I would still say that the basics are very important. You cannot really say that the basics can be ignored. Even the artificial intelligence models are being programmed by neurosurgeons, by other doctors who are training the artificial intelligence models. And I think I think it's prior to say that the doctors can be replaced by artificial intelligence, but like we are talking about the next 10, 20, 50 years. It's always good to keep yourself grounded and have your basic knowledge where it is right now.
Right. Doctor, if you reflect on the GMC culture back then, how was it like? What values did it instill in you that helped you throughout your journey so far?
I think if I try to put it in a very concise manner, I mean, the most important thing that GMC or GMU right now, they instilled in us, at least I can talk about my personal experience, is that being structured is very important in all aspects of your life. Being a surgeon, being a medical practitioner, you have to be structured. Your approach should be more structured. And that is one aspect that I learned from the university. And although it was a university or college at that time, the structured pattern was there. We knew exactly what we are doing. We knew how much syllabus was supposed to be covered. We knew what was important. And eventually, that helped us. And I'm very proud to say that our syllabus was actually covered. And we covered so much syllabus that was not even covered in some of the European schools at that time. And although the European schools have been there for almost like 200, 300 years. So having said that, being structured was very important, and we were taught to be structured. And I think that helped us in the long run.
Definitely. It's very heartwarming to see GMU advancing real quick. I mean, in just 27 years, they were just celebrating 27 years of GMU. They accomplished so much, and they've brought to the world amazing doctors, not just nationally, but internationally, just like yourself, Dr. Younis.
Of course, yeah, of course. I think that goes on to say that if your basics are right, if you know how you want to go about something, it will always succeed. So being a new college doesn't mean that you don't have to be structured. You don't have to be following the basic rules of any education. And I cannot say that we missed on anything. And that's the reason of the success of the Gulf Medical University, I guess.
Definitely. Now, Doctor, let's dive into your choice of neurosurgery. Neurosurgery is one of the most competitive and challenging specialties, not just intellectually, but also technically. What made you choose neurosurgery?
I don't know. I've answered this question millions of times in my head, and also personally to everyone around me. See, I was coming from a non-medical background. My parents, they were not into medicine. My brothers, my cousins, nobody, not even remotely related to medicine. For me, becoming a neurosurgeon was more like a challenge to myself. When I decided to go to medical college for becoming a doctor, I mean, everyone in my family was happy. They were like, okay, so you're going to have a doctor in our family. I was almost happy that, okay, fine, I'll finish in 2000. I started 2001. 2006, I'll be called a doctor. But somewhere in 2004 and 2005, I realized that's not enough. I mean, like, if you want to become a legend in any part of the world, you have to go one step ahead. And I always wanted to inspire people. I mean, like, all the doctors have this hero complex, I guess. They should have, at least if they don't have. So I wanted to inspire my cousins, my relatives. And I said, like, if I stop here, they all will also try to become only a doctor. Like, why not go one step ahead? One more step that will inspire the other people. And maybe that was the reason Of course, the rest is history. I am a neurosurgeon, but I wanted to do something different, something more, something, set up the bar should be like really high for other people to, so I want the next generation to cross it. In my family, in my relatives, I would love them to cross it, become something more than this.
Amazing. Doctor, we share another thing as well, not just an alma mater, but also being the first doctors in our families.
Yeah, I know. It feels nice. It feels nice. I mean, you feel really, really an inspiration. You're an inspiration for the next generation of your brothers, sisters, cousins who are younger to you, and they look up to you. It's important.
And
I think it's one part.
You've set an amazing example, Dr. Younis.
Thank you.
Was there like a moment in your training, or when you chose neurosurgery and you were like, yes, this is the place for me, this is what I meant to do? Was there a defining moment like that for you?
See, when I went to Germany, I was aiming for two different fields, because if you're very rigid in your approach, I was kind of rigid in the way that I wanted to do surgery. That part was clear. I mean, there was no doubt. I think maybe somewhere in third year, fourth year, I was already thinking about doing surgery. There was no, and I think I would recommend every student to do that, like early in your life, in your career, try to make up your mind what attracts you, what doesn't attract you. And I want to do a surgery. So for me, there were two choices. It was either cardiothoracic, which was really happening in the late 90s, and cardiothoracic surgeons, they're like Hollywood stars in our part of the world, in our fields. And then there was neurosurgery, and I think I had a backup of ENT, and I wanted to become general surgeon. Not saying nothing like against general surgeons. It was just like, I just wanted to be somewhat different, something different than what other people are choosing. Although I knew it won't be easy. And then when I came here, I started, I was still in, I was deciding that should it be cardiothoracic and neurosurgery, and I got the chance to start in the neurosurgery initially. And I just liked the field a lot. And there were some other reasons where cardiothoracic was not, I saw that everything was being done endovascularly. And that was the reason why I actually said, no, neurosurgery is going to for me. And it was a very practical field in a way that it had application from being one of the most challenging, from brain surgery, brain tumors, aneurysms. And you can also do, you can change. It was flexible for me in a way that, you can also do spine surgery later on if in life, when you feel that, okay, maybe I want to take a break, I want to dial it down a notch, and, just go and do some elective surgeries and some disc prolapse. So there was this flexibility option available for me, and I think that was the reason why I said, the spectrum is really wide in neurosurgery, why not go for neurosurgery? And then I decided finally.
I've noticed that everything was calculated in your mind. Like, you knew exactly what you wanted to do and what you didn't want to do and why. This is very admirable, Dr. Younis.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. It is important to do these things, because otherwise you're lost.
Right.
And a lot of input comes from your seniors, from your immediate family, if you have doctors in your family. But eventually you have to take that decision for yourself. You'll have to plunge into that cold water and, decide for yourself, is it cold enough for me or not? Can I still swim in it? And I think that final decision you have to make yourself.
Right. Did you face any fear, doubt, or resistance from anyone when you chose a competitive specialty like neurosurgery?
Fear is always there. I mean, it's human nature to be fearful about what I'm going to do if I fail. I mean, that thing is human nature. You're going to feel that. It's very normal. But there was no resistance. My parents, they were happy. They were happy if I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon or a neurosurgeon. They were like, anything is good. I had a lot of support from my parents. I had a lot of support from my friends, families, and relatives. Even they were very happy and they were excited. I'm going to Germany. I'm going to be pursuing a career as a specialist surgeon. There was I wouldn't say there was any sort of resistance from anyone, but Yeah, I mean, the people who are like not very close to me, they're always saying, yeah, it's a demanding field. And somehow it worked positively for me, because whenever they told me, it's a very demanding field, and I was like, really? Oh, then I want to do it. Maybe that was a defining moment for me. That the more people said, like it's dangerous, or it's going to be demanding, even your social life, and I was like, okay, then I want to do it, and I would like to do it. So
Amazing.
yeah,
You had great determination and resilience despite the negative comments. I think that's the case with a lot of surgical specialties. I don't know why you get a lot of warning when it comes to choosing a surgical specialty. Everyone's fearful.
One of the reasons is your social life. See, when you're a student and you are ambitious, I was ambitious, and I think everyone should be, but again, this is one thing that you have to think earlier in your career. I mean, you don't have to become a clinician, God's sake. I mean, you've done an MBBS. I'm not saying don't become a clinician. I'm not saying do become. I'm saying do whatever you are comfortable doing. I was very comfortable going into surgical field because I knew I don't want to wake up in one day and think, I could have become a surgeon. I had the skill set. I knew that I can do it. You have to know your strengths. You have to know your weaknesses. Nobody else can tell you. I mean, like, people can only tell you what is good and what is bad, what is difficult, what is easy, but you should decide for yourself. There were some programs that were introduced when I was in Mafraq, when I was in Gulf Medical University as a student, like surgical programs, basic surgical sutures. It was not an obligation. It was not necessary for me to do it. I did it because I was interested. So to think beforehand that this is what I want to do. And you can, of course, that is the time when you can try out. And if it doesn't work and you feel like, okay, I don't want to do it, you can always change. But once you've plunged into something and you'd realize, okay, now, I cannot go ahead because, like in Japan, I think there's a saying that, if you board onto a wrong train, you can always get off at the next station. You don't have to wait till the end of the station, because once you've boarded on the train and you think, okay, now I'm going to go to the last station, it's going to be too late. You can just next stop, get off it, and go to where your heart lies and what your strengths and weaknesses tell you to do.
I think you've highlighted a very good point, which is passion. I think everyone needs to do things, everything with passion, because that what helps you excel and move forward.
Of course.
Doctor, what would you say are the qualities that helped you not only enter neurosurgery, but also excel in it?
So it's not just the physical strength. It is required, of course, in neurosurgery, because there's long-standing hours. You have to have really good mental strength as well. And you need to have a good social support as well. Like my wife, she was very supportive of me when I was doing my residency period, when I was like doing 4 or 5 on-calls, and even when I was doing second on-calls. And I usually used to leave in the night for evacuation of a hematoma, or I had to do like decompressive craniectomies. And your sleep pattern is disturbed. You don't really sleep well. Again, I'm not trying to say that people should not do it. It's just that there's a phase in life where you feel like, okay, this is what I signed up for. And now I have the skills, and why not? Because the reward that you get, that means the patient, and that patient is well and alive, and the relatives of that patient come and tell you, thank you, doctor, you've saved my father's or my mother's life. I think that is priceless. You cannot express that feeling in words. That is the hero complex I was telling you about, that all the doctors are supposed to have, I guess.
Right, exactly, doctor. Thank you very much for sharing that. Now let's dive into the journey to Germany. It must have been a very challenging one. One of the most inspiring parts about your story is how focused you were. Right after graduating medical school, you knew exactly what you wanted to do and the road to it, and you took off to Germany. Tell me, how was the process like, and did you face any challenges in the process?
So one very good thing was that GMU introduced this outreach program. I think even your batches, I think it should be there somewhere.
Yes.
It was very insightful, and it was really helpful for, at least for me. Like, I can always tell about myself, but I'm sure of it, because once you go to a different country and you see the medical system there, you get to know, am I supposed to be working here? Should I be working here? Is it good, bad? Of course, you can always compare your system with the other countries. So there were some programs for Germany, and although I planned to go to Germany in the 4th year, but somehow, for some reason, I couldn't. And then I moved, then I went the next year and was so adamant on the fact that I want to go to Germany because I wanted to see how it is, because I wanted to take a decision. Like, I'm going to UK, I'm going to Germany, I'm going to US. And when I went to Germany, and there was one Professor Hammer, he was a urologist, basically, again, a surgeon, but a urologist. And he influenced me in a way because he was so nice, well-cultured, well-mannered, highly professional, highly skillful person. And he was a professor, and I was assisting him in one of his surgeries. It was a prostatectomy at that time. And I never even, I think I scrubbed in a few times at GMU, the GMC hospital. And I was assisting him. And that changed my perspective of how easily a good surgeon can take anyone. He doesn't need the second best. He can take anyone. He can still do the surgery by himself, but he can make the other person at ease, who's like totally new. He doesn't even know what he's doing. And that thing made me realize that I have to go to Germany. Again, that was like, for me, the initial thing. I knew the language is going to be a barrier. It was always going to be a barrier. But I made up my mind, because Professor 𝐘𝐿 𝐷𝐿 was also a part of our faculty at that time, and he was in Germany. And I just happened to talk to him, and he was very positive about surgical fields, and I talked to my cardiothoracic and neurosurgery, and he was like, yeah, of course you can do it, and you will get entry, but you'll have to be like really at your toes, and you have to give your best to survive in the neurosurgery, especially in a culture and language where you're going to be new. And I was like, of course I'm going to do that. So when you overcome the language, the language barrier, when you overcome the cultural shock thing, which I never got because I was already here as a student, then I think the rest of the things were easy. I started learning, I think maybe I was the only one, or maybe there were two, three other guys who started learning German language in their residence, in their internship. I was doing my internship in Al-Qasimi and Kuwaiti hospital at that time, back in 2007. And that's the time when I was also learning, in the evenings, I was learning German language in Berlitz Institute in Jumeirah.
Great. You took active measures, like active steps to reach that goal. You started like early as a 4th year medical school, if I'm correct.
Yes, I was in 4th year. I was like, I was already starting to, like, make up my mind. 4th year, I was almost thinking I have to go to Germany. 5th year, I went to Germany. Then the exam came. Then the internship, I started learning the language, and of course, rest is as you know it.
Amazing. Doctor, a lot of students have the ambition of going abroad and doing their training, but always feel hesitant and uncertain about that choice. What helped you navigate that uncertainty?
It cannot be one or two things. It's like a process, The first thing is you have to know your strengths and weaknesses that I already mentioned. Then you need to gather all the information that you can from your seniors. I remember I used to ask all the seniors, because at that time the 98 batch was already, they have started residence. Some of them were in India, Egypt, some of them were in Dubai itself. So I was trying to connect to all, like you guys also trying to connect to me or some of the seniors. Used to connect to all these seniors, whatever information I could gather, whatever things I could, and I used to tell them, like, very openly, that I want to do surgical fields. And I used to get this feedback, okay, the UK, you might not get into neurosurgery. Again, that was something that they told me at that time, and the seats are saturated. And again, these feedbacks, they usually you can sack them, and you can stack them up, and then you can find out which one of these information is most helpful to you. For me, it was very helpful that some of them said, okay, like in US, it's going to be a long procedure. You have to give the US assembly. It takes 1 year, and you might not get into surgical fields. UK the same way. US again, in Australia again, it was the same issue. Then somehow I was starting to think, like if you have to go into a surgical field, I'll have to take a decision. And at that time, I think, alhamdulillah, I think I took a very good decision. And some other students of JMU, and we all came here, and alhamdulillah, we are all now consultant level doctors, if not less.
Amazing. And of course, you're making a big transition from UAE going to Germany. What were the challenges like? A new environment, new culture, new system? Please tell me more about it, doctor.
So, language was the biggest barrier again. Even when I learned the language, that was like there are different levels. I learned A1 level in like 6 to 8 months in Dubai, and I thought, I know enough to communicate. But again, that was that image was shattered when I came here and I started talking to people. Then it was still difficult. So you need to learn the language. That was one thing. 6 months I invested in learning the intensive courses of German language. Then there were like in all the other countries, the doctors have to give an exam. There was an exam for that, and I gave that exam. But the good thing was you have to write the exam not in the first year, but you can give it within the first 2 years. So I had given my exam, the licensing exam, later on. In the first 2 years, we got something known as a temporary license to practice, and that was a part where we all got the temporary licenses based on our language skills. So you had to learn the language, get the temporary license, then appear for the medical licensing exam. Then after that, of course, you get what is called as a medical license for life in Germany. So I think that part, that first 2-3 years were a bit hectic for all of us in that way.
Right. And I'm noticing another quality, which is hard work and effort. You had to put a lot of effort, a lot of hard work, not just to get into Germany, but also thrive and do your exams.
Yeah. One more thing was the visa. I mean, at that time I was I had Pakistani passport, so it was a bit difficult to get the visa. I mean, it took 6 months for me to get the visa, and I think that was the only time when I was a bit skeptical, because that's one thing where you cannot do. Your hard work doesn't come into it. Like, there's nothing you can do that will make a consulate give you a visa. You can just submit your documents, and your efforts won't bring anything in that. So it's all luck. So I think you have to be lucky as well. It's not only about hard work; it has to be luck. You have to put your best foot. Put your best foot forward, and you have to hope that everything works out the way you want it to work out.
Right. Another thing I ask the doctors in Doctor's Oath especially is an object of meaning. If they can bring an object that has a story, a lesson, or a memory, and they want to share it with us. Dr. Younis, what did you bring for us today?
So I don't know if it's going to be surprising for you, or for me, it is an object that I would, and I realized that later on in my life, maybe when I came to Germany. So it's very important for me. So if you can see this, it's my birth certificate.
Oh, wow.
I was born in Dubai. Never realized in my life that where you are born is the most important thing in your life, until I left Dubai. Every person, and literally every person, all my patients, because they usually read your profile when they come to you, especially if they're coming to you in outpatient, they always ask you the same thing. You're from Dubai. What are you doing here? You're from Dubai. What are you doing here? I have to explain it to them every time. Every document that you fill in Germany, you have to write, where were you born? not where is your passport from, where you, of course now I have a German passport, but so I think the lesson here is that I miss Dubai a lot. I love to travel back to Dubai anytime I get, and I love coming back to GMU. I met Dr. Niloufar also the last time I went there, Aslam Kuti and all the people, Subish, and of course Dr. Tombe also. And like, it's always heartwarming. Whenever I land in Dubai, I feel that's home. My family is still there. So for me, the place you were born and brought up, that is going to be your home all the time. So I think that's the most important thing, like, don't forget your roots. Don't think, okay, I'll just leave this place, I'll go this place from this place. I'm so proud of the fact that I was born in a city that is one of the best cities in the world. I belong to a university that is one of the most flourishing universities in this region. And you should be proud of this. And I'm a part of that. I'm part of growing, like growing up of the Dubai and GMU. So I'm proud of it. Be proud of what you are and where you come from.
Amazing. That's a very unique object, a unique perspective. Thank you very much for sharing it, Dr. Younis. It's really good that you appreciate your beginnings as much as the ends as well. Another thing is I ask guests to share a story with us, something that taught, like a memory, a lesson, or a moment that changed their perspective and reflected their journey with medicine. What is the story that you're going to share with us, Doctor? Something that taught you something about ethics, leadership, or purpose? Tell us more.
So this is my favorite story. I think when I was a student, most of my doctors used to tell us stories from their past. And I used to think, oh, maybe there will be a day in my life and I'll be telling the stories. And that day has come. It is one of my favorite stories because it takes place when I was in the 4th year residency, and there was a senior consultant who was he's a very good consultant. He's a spine surgeon, and it was Ramadan, and I had fasted, so I just broke, and I was on call, so I broke my fast, and there was an emergency surgery going on, and I had to assist him. So I went inside the surgery, and that time I was. Just broke the fast. I think ate 2 dates, and I just drank water. And then I was like, okay, I'm coming. And I went inside the surgery. We started surgery pretty normally. And then, like, after, it was supposed to be 2 to 3 hours. And I had to call for the whole night also. So in the morning, I was supposed to go home. And I assisted in the surgery till like 10:30. And then there were some complications in the surgery, of course, some unforeseen things, and somehow it got elongated, like it got extended to almost 12 o'clock in the night. No problem. I was still standing there, never complained, never any issues. I was always trying to help from whatever knowledge I had at that time, from my level of expertise. And then somehow I realized that the consultant was not feeling well. So I knew that these are the moments where you think twice, like you think why you've become a doctor, and you have to take a lead on a situation where you get a chance to. It's not about, okay, I'm just a student. Don't think like that. If you can make a change, if you can do something, you have to do it. And that is exactly what happened. And I realized that he's not feeling well. I just informed the scrub nurse that, I think he's not feeling well. I think we have to give him a break. And I'll just try to, take the surgery a little bit further ahead. It was basically a removal of a bleeding tumor, and the tumor kept bleeding. So we had to stabilize the spine and everything as well. So somehow I don't know why he was not feeling well. And then after a few hours, then he took a break, maybe 2 hours, and then it was 2 o'clock in the morning. And then he took a break. I told the scrub nurse, so please call the head of the department. He also came. Then 3 of us then somehow finished the surgery. It was almost 6:30 in the morning. So it went almost 12 and a half hours. Unplanned 12 and a half hours. So if you have a planned surgery and unplanned this, the factor that changed was that if I would have stayed back and put my hands up, it could have affected the doctor, the patient. So you have to take the lead if there's a situation where you feel that you have to. You always have to think that way. As a doctor, you have to do that. And that's the one thing I learned from there. Like, don't be hesitant. Like, take the lead if you think something is wrong in the OR.
Right. You should know when to step in and also be an active team player.
Active team player. Exactly.
Thank you very much, Dr. Younis, for sharing that lovely story. We can learn a lot from it.
Yep.
Now, let's explore your leadership role in neurosurgery. You did not just go to Germany to train. You've become a lead consultant in spine and neurosurgery. What qualities do you think allowed you not just to become a doctor, but also a leader in your field?
See, again, if I look back at my story, I'm like, it's difficult to believe you are coming to a country, you're not a native to that country, not to that language, you don't know a word of that language till you're in your in your internship, and you come here and that country treats you really well. They not only let you train, they give you opportunities to go higher up. But again, there is some contribution from yourself as well. You cannot expect then everyone to become to reach that level, because it's all about merit basis. So if you deserve to be in a spot, they will give it to you. From your perspective as an individual and as a doctor, what you need is that you need to be strong-headed. You need to show that you are going to take the responsibility. They are not going to give it to you. You will have to take it. So if you take the responsibility and you say, I can do it, you have to convince yourself that I can do this and I can take up this role and I'll do good at it. I'm not just going to take up this role because I want to take up this role, but I'm going to take it up because I'm good at it. So they will always give you a task, and if you accomplish that task, they'll give you the next task. And that's how the residency period was there. And then after I did my residency, I was lucky enough to be trained from one of the best doctors in spine and neurosurgery, and they instilled their trust in me, and that's the reason why I am where I am. So you have to be eager to learn from them and to show them that yes, I can do it. This is going to be the first task that you have to show them. You are here, and you're not going to leave them at critical situation. And I think that's about it. That's what they want you to do.
Right, you need to show effort, and because it's a responsibility, you need to show that you're competent to actually carry that responsibility forward. Great. Doctor, neurosurgery is a very demanding field and challenging because every movement, any mistake, it can change a life forever. How do you handle that pressure?
You have to be headstrong. You cannot take anything for granted. You have to prepare. Even for emergency surgeries, you have to prepare. You have to, again, structured. Being structured comes handy everywhere. You have to pay attention to the details. If there's a patient who has come to emergency department, you don't miss signs. Like if you, of course, as a human, there's always a chance of making errors. You reduce your errors by, defining whatever is important for you and keep practicing it. You don't have to go necessarily and read up every time, but whatever you read, whatever you know, you have to apply on that spot within that period of time where the patient comes to you, and you have to take the decision. And then the most important thing that differentiates a specialist doctor from a consultant doctor is the ability to take right decision. If you can do that, you're going to be a very good consultant. Not everyone in Germany wants to become a consultant, especially in the native people. They don't always, because they don't want to take the responsibility. So it's about taking the responsibility, knowing that you can do it, and taking that decision at this critical moment. And you have to be headstrong. This is one quality that you cannot learn it. You have to conquer your fears. you might make a mistake, but that should not define you. Everyone can make a mistake. Even the best of the surgeons in the world can make mistakes. You should not strive to become 100%. You should strive to eliminate your mistakes as far as possible. And that will make you a very good surgeon.
And give your 100% as well.
Of course, you have to always give you 100%.
Exactly. Doctor, tell me, has leadership in neurosurgery taught you something that textbooks or classrooms didn't?
See, the textbooks are going to be your guidance for the very basic level all the time. You know, like if you are a resident, especially in Germany, they are not very keen on explaining to you each and every aspect of everything. You're supposed to do some self-learning, but the books can take you to a certain level, maybe help you pass exams, but your clinical knowledge and your experience, whenever you see the patient, and it's all skill based, you know, like dexterity of your hands. Like you can show somebody how to cut something, but you cannot show somebody, you cannot help him cut it. You know, he has to do it himself. So it comes with practice, like in any other surgery. Again, you can try to, after a certain like level of experience, you know the anatomy, you know the disease so well that you can maybe make a few tweaks here and there, and you can somehow get a better result. And that's where innovation comes, even in surgeries. So if you're doing it like 300 surgeries in 1 year, you're following a particular pattern of surgery. For example, we use for cervical fixation 𝐆𝐮𝐥𝐼 method, and Professor 𝐆𝐮𝐧 is still working here in Germany. And if you follow him, like after like 20, 30, 40, 50 surgeries, you know what he was thinking, but you can always tweak a little bit here and there as per your necessity, and you don't have to follow the book all the time. That's where innovation comes in. So your experience will lead you to innovation, to design new methods and ways where you can also contribute to the medical science, because it's not always that one size fits all, and there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Right. I think it's always having that mentality to grow and give back to the field and not just be a recipient.
Exactly.
Great. Now let's look at the whole journey, like a flashback. When you think about how you started as a 2001 medical student at Gulf Medical College, a newly established institute, to now a lead surgeon in neurosurgery in one of the top hospitals in Germany, what stands out to you the most?
Yeah, I'll tell you something. This is something I've never shared it with anyone. When I went to the GMC at that time, 2001, I was standing in the foyer. It has changed a lot now, but I was standing in the foyer and I was thinking, if I was standing here in 2006, and if I fast forward my life in 2006, I would be a doctor. So that was the first thing that came to my mind, that, you know, like, if I fast forward my life, and if I survive, of course, I will be a doctor, and I'll have that title. It's a privilege. And the same way, I did the same thing when I came to Germany, and I thought to myself, it is 2009 right now, and I'm starting my residency, and if I survive to 2015 or 16, I'll be a specialist neurosurgeon. And these are the things that made me like, actually whatever defines me are these two things right now. That first, the Gulf Medical University, and second, being a neurosurgeon. So I think looking back at time, you know, like, you always want to set your goals one step at a time. You cannot just think 20 years ahead. You have to just keep that goal 5 years, survive 5 years, spend this time fruitfully, and, you know, like, get to the other end. I think that's the best way of survival.
Right, to be focused. I think being focused on one thing can guarantee accomplishing it better than, you know, being distracted.
Exactly. Then thinking about 5,000 things. I'll start a business. I'll start, an app. and I'll write a book. And okay, these things always come to your mind, but like try to focus on one thing, achieve that, and maybe like when in life you don't have anything else to do, then multitasking would be good. But I would rather, although I did multitasking in different ways, maybe learning languages and navigating through the society, German society in different ways. But again, the focus should never be like doing two different things at the same time. Just try to reach that first goal and then the second goal. So I think reflecting back, I think this is the most important thing. When I remember still that I was standing there in 2001 and thinking, like if I am standing here in 2006, if I survive, if I'm still alive, I'll be a doctor. And yeah, and 2006, and I was still standing there and I was like, yeah, I did it. So
we're entering 2026 now, and you've definitely not only survived it, you've thrived in medicine, Dr. Younis. I'm sure your younger self would be very proud.
My younger self should be very proud. Yes.
What is one thing, if your younger self knew about now, would be surprised? You've reached there. What is one thing?
I think my younger self won't be surprised about anything because, like I said, like my goals were pretty clear. I wanted to do something, and I always used to tell myself, like if I'm good health, if I'm still in good health and I survive, like I live through this time, then I'll reach. Then I'll be this. This is what I want, and I'm good at turning myself to a goal. Like trying to focus on one thing and attaining it. Because if I get distracted by something else, if something happens and I am like, okay, no, then again it doesn't work out for me very well. So I am the only way I'm designed is like focusing on one thing at a time, achieving it, and then looking back at it and saying, okay, I did it. Now next. So yeah.
Amazing. Doctor, you've built your path with determination, clarity, and passion. What would you say to medical students who dream of becoming neurosurgeons but are scared?
You have to overcome your fears. Like I said, you should know yourself that, is this what I want? If you want to, you just imagine yourself waking up one day in the morning, going to your work and thinking, is this what I want it to be? I wake up, I tell my wife as well, like every day, if I would have like become maybe let's say like ENT specialist, I would have still been a good doctor. I'm not saying I would have been a bad doctor. I would have been a good ENT specialist. And you all should always strive for that. But but I would have thought, okay, I could have become a neurosurgeon as well. Now I cannot think of anything. Cardiothoracic was there, but then again, I myself gave neurosurgery a chance, and then so the rest is history. So yes, you are going to be scared initially, but you have to take a decision, and there's nobody else who's going to take it for you. You have to take it yourself. You cannot get that comfort where somebody else is going to tell you should become this. Yeah, I mean, the people are going to tell you you're good at this and you're not good at this, but eventually you have to take the decision yourself.
Right.
It's a commitment. Becoming a doctor is a lifelong commitment, and it's more than just a prestige and a name. It's more than that, and you're gonna get it. You can get used to it once you go into the clinical side, and you're gonna see how much saving a life means for anyone.
Right. Before going into medical school, and when I was in high school, I used to always hear that medicine is just 6 years, 7 years, and you'll become a doctor. It's worth it. When I went through with the path, I realized it's not a journey of 5 to 10 years. It's a lifelong commitment, exactly like you said, doctor.
It is a lifelong commitment, and if you have committed to becoming a doctor and you feel that you have those talents, you have those skills, you can make a difference for anyone's life, then of course go ahead with it. Don't be afraid. But if you feel that, okay, I think this is where it ends, I want to become a doctor, but I don't want to go to the clinical side, again, it's your decision. I would never tell anyone that was a wrong decision. Why did you become a doctor and then did not pursue your clinical field? Because you have to take that decision on yourself, by yourself, and nobody else can take it for you.
Right. And doctor, what would you advise students who feel lost or unsure about what they want to do?
See, consult your senior doctors. Now you have, of course, JMU family has grown exponentially. You have a lot of alumni, students everywhere around the world. I'm one of them. So, of course, I'm always ready to help all the students who reach out to me. They can always, write me, and Mr. Aslam has my details in my emails. So I will always be helpful to them, to guide them. Then again, this is one part of it. Second part is you have to go to a country. If you're thinking of going to US, take out some time in your summer vacation, go there. Even if you're not going as a medical hospitation student, you just go there, try to find about anything that you want to see there, that the kind of doubts you have. Go to UK, go to Australia, go to any country that you want to be an option for you. So you have 5 years, you have 4 breaks. You have, if you go and let's say you start in second year, because that's the time when you start realizing, okay, now I'm going into clinical field. So then third year, fourth year, and fifth year. So in these breaks, you can always go there. And try to have a first-hand experience. Okay, is this for me? And that's going to ease your nerves at the at least. If not, and it's going to help you take decisions, and talk to the local doctors as well, of course, and talk to a lot of doctors. Don't hear one doctor and say, okay, though this is going to be catastrophic, because you don't know if you've talked to one doctor, maybe he's in some sort of situation where which is a lot of stress there for him at that moment. It's better to consult a lot of doctors, whichever country you're planning to go to, and read about the licensing system, read about the requirements that are there. If you're coming to Germany, again, I've already told you, German is a requirement. If you're going to any other country, for example, France, some of our students went to France as well. So you need French. How much is important? Which specialty you want to go to? See if there are doctors who are working there, if you can get in contact with them. And sometimes people are very nice, and they will try to help you as well.
Exactly. Take the step, make active measures, take the initiative, ask.
Ask.
Yeah. Don't just leave yourself to the fear of uncertainty, because it's destructive.
Of course. So yeah, I mean, this is how it sums out for me, that I just did all the things that I've already told, and that helped me to make a decision, an informed decision about what is going to be best for me. And I took the leap of faith. Again, there's some luck involved. Of course, if my visa would have been rejected in Germany, I wouldn't be sitting here. But you have to do your part of the effort and hope for the best.
Exactly. And if you can give one final message to the future generations of Gulf Medical University doctors, what would you tell them?
See, I would tell them, please enjoy the time. I was a good student and Dr. Nulafar is going to second that. I was a good student, but at the same time, I realized in my school that you have to enjoy the college time as well. And that time when I joined the college from 2001 to, I was CR for 4 times. I was organizing the ethnic day at that time, very initially. And I was part of almost all the sports activities there. I was in the table tennis. I was into a little bit into cricket as well. So I enjoyed my time. The best time of my life that I used positively was those 5 years of my college. And I'm very proud of that time. I always reflect back to that time and say that was a time when I was doing everything. I was into everything possible. And that means you have to study, you have to make a career out of your college degree, but you have to enjoy as well. Don't forget to enjoy. Be very, very vigilant about where you want to go, what you want to do, but also enjoy this time, because this time is not going to come back.
Thank you very much for your very thoughtful message, Dr. Younis. Of course, because medicine is a lifelong journey, we always need to remind ourselves that we need to enjoy the ride and not get carried away by all the fresh air.
Exactly. So this is for all the young students. I know it's a stressful. MBBS is still now it's MD program. It's still one of the most difficult studies throughout the world, but you have to enjoy as well. And and hopefully everything will turn out the way it should be.
Thank you very much, Dr. Younis, for sharing your great insights with us and for highlighting these amazing qualities that you have. And I really hope that the future generations of doctors and medical students acquire those skills, passion, determination, perseverance, and also have a heart full of faith, just like yours. You've inspired me, and I genuinely hope that this inspiration spreads far across to other students as well.
I hope that too. And thank you, Shahad, for having me today. And it was really nice talking to you. It's after a long time that I've opened my heart in front of anyone. And I think some of these things hopefully are going to be helpful for the future students and all the doctors. And like I said, I will always be there. If anybody needs any information from my side, I'll be more than glad to help.
Thank you very much for all your efforts, Dr. Younis Hussain. It was lovely having you on today's episode. And thank you to our listeners for watching and listening to us till the end. And see you in the next episode.